we will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order.
Ooh, we have Sunday services.
Mm-hmm. So I'm drinking the sacramental Smirnoffs. Oh, and we have our thingy, and I'm going to end up hitting my mic. I'm going to end up eating the big pink ball.
Folks,
and he's got blue balls.
Welcome to Parliamentarian Porn.
Boom.
We're rated R for Roberts.
Yeah.
Ready for the, ready for...
I'm trying, because we're going to do our white people uncoordinated thing. Okay, ready?
Sunday services.
1, 2, 3. Hey, we're getting better.
Because I bumped into a microphone.
I didn't. I was very conscious of this big pink ball.
I'm not touching that one. Even with permission.
With consent. I'm ready whenever you are, Mr. Seebeck.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Okay, neither am I.
Nope, not at all.
Sunday, April the 19th. The basic principle of decision in a deliberative assembly is that to become the act or choice of the body, a proposition must be adopted by a majority vote, that is, direct approval, implying assumption of responsibility for the act, must be registered by more than half of the members present and voting on a particular matter in a regular or properly called meeting of the body. See also pages 400 and 401.
Okay, so...
What the hell are they talking about? Sounds like majority vote.
Yeah, I think they're saying the minimum basic... This is how I understand what they're saying. They're talking about the character of a deliberative assembly and the decisions made thereby. And I think what they're trying to say is that the minimum requirement is things being approved by a majority, because some things obviously have to be approved by more.
Right.
That's the way I'm understanding it. These Sunday ones are...
Well, this reference is all the way back on page 4.
And it's your reading, I believe.
It's lines 3 through 9. And, it's basically that paragraph. So what in the hell are they talking about here?
Regular 4, right? Not
page,
okay.
Yeah, Arabic 4. The nature of the deliberative assembly. In other words, we're so back in basics here, it's crazy. So yeah, it's talking about majority vote, and they say here, they follow from that statement, modifications of the foregoing principle that impose a requirement of more than majority vote arise, this is on 10, A, where required by law, B, where provided by a special rule of a particular organization or assembly as dictated by its own conditions, or C, where required under the general parliamentary law in case of certain steps or procedures that impinge on the normal rights of the minority, of absentees, or of some other group within the assembly's membership. In other words, it can be more if there's certain requirements to do so, but normally majority is what they go by.
Yeah, so I had it right. It's just talking about the basic characteristics.
Yeah.
Now I remembered, though, what I said, if we had time, which we obviously do on our Sunday musings. Remember the thing I wanted to talk about appeal.
And amusing they are.
Yes. Appeal. Remember the question I'd posed to you off, we weren't recording, was what's the purpose of an appeal? Is it to actually vote and determine as to whether the chair's ruling is correct or whether the chair's ruling is what you want? Because, as I had said, Nick often plays the game where he knows the assembly wants something different, but he knows the rules don't allow it, where he says, I'm going to rule this out of order. Then you are going to appeal. And I won't argue for my case, and the rest of you could vote to overturn my ruling. Wink, wink. And I think that's complete bullshit. It infringes upon rights.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time in the LP. Now, does it say anything about this in Roberts?
I don't know, to be honest.
So, well, let's look up appeal and see.
I know we're not talking about bananas. Although it is a little bananas. Appeal is 255. Here
Yep.
we go.
So, presiding officer rulings, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Any two members have the right to appeal from his decision on such a question. One making it, one seconding it. Well, that's why you get two.
Appropriateness of appeal. If a member disagrees with a ruling, you should not hesitate to appeal. Talks about the opinion. We already talked about that before.
Oh, listen, how about here? Characteristics 2B. When the chair rules on a question about which there cannot possibly be two reasonable opinions, an appeal would be dilatory and is not allowed. Bottom of
Right.
256.
Right. And the thing that you and I are both thinking of, that convention, cluster F, it was clear. Nick was absolutely right in his ruling. It was just inconvenient.
All right. Hey, remember me? All right. So here's where we're at. We got 5 minutes. It's not a lot of time. If you want to appoint the top 5 people, the top 5 vote getters from this vote to the LNC, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Well, you got to buckle up and get ready for the ride. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. Everybody pay real close attention. So, the motion is to appoint the top 5 people on the ballot for the LNC to the LNC, the top 5 vote getters, regardless of whether or not they get a majority. Okay? Slow down, this is complicated, but we'll get there. That's out of order. I've already ruled it's out of order. I'm going to tell you it's out of order. You're going to say, I appeal the ruling of the chair, and I don't think that that's out of order, really. You're going to overturn the ruling of the chair, and then we're going to do it that way.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
I'm going to tell you how to do it, and then we'll see how well you can do it. And if you can do all that...
Point of information?
Yes, Mr. Fishman,
Are you
microphone
suggesting we
two.
would make that vote before knowing who the top 5 are?
What?
Are you suggesting that we would make that vote, that we would go through this procedure before knowing who the top 5 vote getters are?
Yes, because we haven't finished counting the ballots. So I know that we were going to do it in the way that complied with Roberts, where we had the majority thing, and we can totally do that. But I will tell you what's going to happen if we do that. If we do that, you're going to get the people with the majority, because we're never going to get to the second ballot. The LNC is going to appoint the other people, and you're going to cross your fingers that they're going to pick the people you want. So if you want the top 5 vote getters from this assembly, you're going to overturn my ruling, and we're going to move forward in that fashion. If you want the LNC, because you love them so much and they're super trustworthy, to pick the people who didn't get a majority, then you're not going to overturn my ruling. Mr. Tomaso, microphone 2, do you have an important point of information?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Would it be in order or allowed for this convention to order the LNC to take such action?
So...
A resolution for the LNC to honor the votes of the delegates.
So I'm going to answer the question.
No.
It's in order for the body to resolve to tell the LNC what to do.
Yes.
Wait.
So we can instruct the LNC to appoint the next.
All right. In the Pennsylvania delegation, they were cleaning the tables, and a bag was taken that had a wallet for the Smiths, Caroline and Sean Smith. So Brown, sorry. So if you were helping clean the tables, which is really awesome, and you took a bag that had a wallet in it, please try and bring it back to the Pennsylvania delegation. So it's in order. A resolution of the convention is not necessarily binding. It has kind of the same effect. It's just a little convoluted.
If I may.
Go ahead.
My concern was the risk of violating Roberts and creating a problem for the election.
So here's what I'm about to tell you. and this is where we get into some real, like, deep level parliamentary stuff, Roberts protects y'all. So if you overturn my ruling and take away the protections of Roberts, you get what you want. So think about that real hard, and then we're going to go through this as fast as humanly possible. So unless there are any privilege motions or requests for information that are directly related to the vote that we're about to have.
I wish to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Mr. Wilford would like to appeal the ruling of the chair that it is out of order for us to appoint the top 5 vote getters from the LNC at-large ballot.
Point of order.
There's a second to appeal the ruling of the chair. I will not defend my ruling.
Point of order.
Does
Mr.
anyone
Chairman.
feel a need to speak against my ruling?
Mr. Chairman, I can resolve this in a real helpful
Do you
way.
feel a need to speak against my ruling, Mr. Starr?
I will, but I'm going to help you get to where you want to go.
Mr. Starr, we're going to get there.
All you have to do is have this body pass a resolution instructing the LNC to appoint.
We already talked about that.
Aaron, they want to go my way, so let's just do it.
Please go.
Tennessee delegation chair, please go to the convention teller or the secretary's desk. Microphone number 2, Mr. Wilford.
Yes, I would like to speak against your ruling. I think you've had a little bit too much of that liberty tincture, and I think you're misreading Robert's rules. And I wish you would reconsider, and I wish this body would reconsider what you've said.
If I haven't, I'm having a little bit more.
I move to extend the time.
All right.
I move to extend the time.
All in favor of sustaining the ruling of the chair, who's obviously drunk, say aye. All those opposed say no. No. Gosh, I must be wrong. So now we're going to take the top 5 people from the balloting. Is there any objection to us adjourning this meeting? Yes. A hearing no objection. Mr. Q. Oh, microphone 2.
Inconvenience is not a reasonable opinion to appeal.
Doesn't say, like, anywhere that I can see explicitly that you can't do it, but I think it's just assumed. Like, I think the people who wrote this are like, obviously we don't have to tell you that. The whole purpose of having a presiding officer is to make correct rulings.
Right. Their job is to facilitate the proper operation of the meeting.
Right.
And by making hints about convenience appeals against what's supposed to be done correctly versus what is convenient doesn't go in that direction. It really doesn't.
I'm going to have to remind our upstairs occupants because I think they forgot.
I thought you had them housebroken.
I need to get one of those big sticks so I could just go.
Your broomstick.
Yeah.
Knock it off!
Knock it off. But, okay, but here's something interesting, though. Let's put us back at that convention where that crap was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the thing we read before where you can't make an appeal of something that's happening during an appeal, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So at that time, you couldn't appeal the fact that he was playing games with the appeal. So what's the remedy?
I forget what we'd said about that.
Well, we said that later on you can make a motion about the appropriateness, but I think it has to be still ripe. Like, I was still confused about when you could bring it back up. We kind of I think we're both a little confused and just said, yeah, you can. And
that one was a little weird at the time because it didn't make any sense to me that you can't bring it up when it's germane and ripe to the situation, but after the fact, after it's passed, you can say something. Well, by that argument, you can bring anything back up again.
So
which is going around agendas and everything else.
So I don't think you and I have a gut instinct answer, and I think we have an ethical answer, but I'm not so sure we, as of yet,
have a procedural answer.
Right. Though I think it's implied. So here's what I'm going to do. And Richard Brown, I know you're watching this and you were there. You know exactly what we were talking about. If you don't want to give your opinion, I understand because, you'd have to pretty much say, what Nick did was bullshit, and you probably don't want to do that. You can send me a private message. But I'm going to ask this on the Roberts Forum without mentioning names or whatever. Well, I don't care. It was recorded. It's public.
Yeah.
I've been bitching about it. It ain't a secret that I thought it was bullshit. So we'll have to report back on what we find.
Yeah, and there's a difference, and Nick has done this in the past, where he will take a person's question, he will say, well, what you can do to accomplish that
Right.
within the bounds of what's right, and say, yay, this is how you work it, versus saying, well, this is how I would rule, and then you would appeal from the chair that it's out of, to make it a matter of convenience versus proper procedure. Proper procedure explaining it's fine, but turning around and making it as a matter of convenience when the procedure goes against what you want, and this is something that the state party could learn from too, is not the way to go about doing this.
Correct. And there was a way they could have gone about doing it. It just would have taken longer. I mean, if the body really wanted to do the plurality voting for the at-large...
Oh, look, we're adjourned.
We adjourned. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. But if the body really wanted to do that, they could have, again, this would have been longer. What he should have said, in my opinion, is you need to amend the bylaws for just this convention. You can do that.
Yes, you can.
And pass it and have it that it has a proviso that it's effective for this convention only. Do your thing. And then it's fine. It just would have taken longer.
Right. Or you can do like what they're proposing for the current situation, and that is have a bylaws change that has a specific expiration date upon which it reverts back to what it was.
But that requires
perfectly valid.
2/3.
Yeah.
And the appeal is just 50%. Well, a majority.
Right.
To overturn. I mean, majority to overturn.
Right.
So maybe he didn't think there was 2/3. Now, if that was the reason, then you're really trampling on member rights to do that wink thing.
Because then you're dropping from a 2/3 to a majority
Right.
just to get something accomplished, which is not the way you want to do it.
But one thing I want to make clear, Nick, I think that's the only, maybe he's done it in an LNC meeting where it wasn't quite as important. But I don't want to make it seem like that's just his practice. He's done this maybe 2 or 3 times in the 4 years I've known him. And what he always does, which is the sign of a good chair, is what you described, where he sees what someone wants to do and they're doing it the wrong way. And he goes, what I think you want to do is X. This is how you can do it.
Right.
Even if he thinks what the person wants to do is completely stupid.
Yeah.
He's always taken it that it's not his job to do that. It's his job to facilitate. And I actually learned that from him, that because that's how I handle platform committee. With the criticism, I don't want to make it seem like that's because I still, as I said many times, I think Nick is the best chair we've had, and he is the best at chairing a meeting and a convention that I've ever seen. And I think we're gonna be poorer for it when he's no longer chair at our convention. I don't know, who knows? But I've watched past conventions. I've even seen David Nolan chair convention, and he couldn't handle them. And it was much smaller. You're talking about maybe 200 people in the room at the older conventions.
Right.
And it was a goat rodeo.
You mean it's not now?
No, Nick. You saw that one.
Excuse me.
You saw that Thug
Fucking
Life
laughing
video
too
I
hard.
made, right?
Which one?
The Thug Life with Aaron Stowe.
Yeah, I saw that.
Come on, that was so. And what I love most about Nick, here's him walking away from the podium. He sticks his gavel in her pocket. He's all badass. I love it. Man, that clip is so great. He's such a badass when it comes to things like that. But okay, we'll have to continue this appeal question when I get more answers.
Fair enough.
All righty. I think we're done.
We have finished.
Oh. Up.
I'm still hitting the damn microphone.
I didn't. I went way back. I reared back.
Favor! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed? You say nay. Opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.